I have nothing in particular to talk about, but I really want to share. I really want to convey what I would call wisdom in my own experiences, and I wish that I could just give them to you. I wish that I could just give the experiences to you. Before I start talking about whatever I'm going to talk about, I just want to mention that in 2 days, March 13th, I'm going to be in Acapulco, Mexico, and I have a fairly nice-sized Airbnb rented out, and I invite anyone who wants to come and heal in a group setting of very conscious individuals that are going to be supportive to your growth and your connection and to you becoming the highest version of yourself. I personally am going to be trying to live on liquids the entire stay, and that's what I'm encouraging people to try and do as well, although people who really feel like they want to eat some fresh fruit is fine also. There won't be any cooked food in the house. I'll be there from March 13th through April 10th. And yeah, you're invited if you want to come to Mexico and heal with me and others. There's probably going to be a lot of different authentic relating style connecting games and things that I'll be facilitating. I haven't looked at the weather, but I imagine that there's going to be some really nice days within that month, and hopefully a lot of laying and relaxing in the sun, maybe taking trips to the beaches, and yeah, just living cheap and relaxed. There's no charge or fee for anyone to come stay in the house. Everyone's just welcome to come stay. You'll just have to pay for your own travel expenses, food items, and whatever else you need. So if you're interested in more info on that, then I'll leave a link to the Facebook group where you can see the house and the location that it's at. And then you can kind of get in with the group messages and stay updated and all that. And I'll leave my personal email in case you don't have Facebook or would rather just email me if you have any questions or any other things that you'd like to email me about. Diet is so very important for cultivating a connection with yourself and cultivating a feeling of connection with God. Diet is the most important thing that I have found experientially to connect me with God, even more so than meditation, although I imagine that if I did many hours a day of meditation, which in the last 6 months I've done a minimum of 2 hours of meditation every single day, but I have experienced vipassanas where it's 10 days of around 10 to 12 hours of meditation every single day, and it's very profound, and that's a very extremely beneficial way to feel the connection between you and yourself, which is everything. But if you want to feel this connection that I know that you've felt before in many instances, where you just feel so high and connected to your own divinity, connected to your God source, and just feeling light and clear-headed and amazing, then the greatest thing I can recommend is changing to a natural diet, getting rid of any cooked food, which is completely unnatural, and just eating the highest energetic vibrational foods that exist. And number one would be fruit. Out of all the food categories, fruit has the highest biophoton levels, which is a form of biological light within the nucleus of every cell. They're the most electrifying, hydrating foods on the planet, and they're what we're designed for as a frugivore species. We're in the anthropoid class of animals, and all anthropoids are frugivorous by nature. And it really only makes sense that if you're going outside of nature and eating things that are not natural, then there's going to be natural effects of that that are probably not going to feel very pleasant. There's nothing that I've experienced that has sustainably connected me to my own divine source of love and all that is more than eating pure fruit or fasting or juicing, living on very, very light, very clean and pure substances. And what I found is that when I eat denser foods, cooked foods, dehydrated foods like nuts and seeds, when I eat salt, that I basically get very identified with the discomfort in my body, and notice how much my mind just wants to be distracted. When I'm eating pure fruit and no other stimulation or unnatural things, then it's just so easy to be connected. It's automatic and I don't even have to try. And that's a really big thing that I've noticed that I just want to share with everyone, is that meditation and just feeling like I'm not identified with myself, and like I just identify with everything that I see around me, and just feeling high vibrational energy coming into my vessel all the time is so easy and so effortless. It just happens. It's just something that's happening to me while I'm eating a high fruit diet or eating a low caloric diet, and mostly just juicing. For the last week or so, I've been mostly just consuming juice, and then usually a little bit of food for dinner, which is usually some fruit, and then sometimes some nuts and seeds, sometimes a little bit of cooked vegetables like cauliflower rice, but that has not been as often. I'm not eating very much cooked food at all. Most of like my downfalls, I suppose, right now are salted nuts, and that's mostly because I'm allowing myself to be in an environment where there's pretty much always salted nuts around in the kitchen. I'm living with my family, and it's so convenient and easy to just grab a handful. And so that's a big reason why I'm going to Mexico, to just kind of relax and not be in a household where there's these temptations, be in a supportive environment, and just make it easier on myself to heal and cleanse. When you're eating a natural frugivorous diet, it's so easy to feel so light and to feel so little pain within your body that it's easy to not identify with the body, and your entire world becomes bright and colorful, and everything you look at, everything that you see around you in the world just looks illuminated. And it's as if you're just a part of all of it. And many of us have this knowing, this knowledge that we are one with everything. But I'm telling you that you can experience it on a very deep level when you start correcting your diet. And as I've mentioned many times before, it's the number one thing that I've done that has allowed me to feel that with consistency and effortlessness and just like automated. It's nearly impossible to get me down or to get me in an emotional imbalance when I'm only eating fruit or consuming juices, because I just don't identify with myself very much at all. And so things that would disturb me if I'm eating foods that really create an imbalance in my body, just have no effect on me because I am just seeing the bigger picture. Not only am I seeing it, but I'm feeling it completely. And I just feel so myself. And I really don't feel like myself when I eat foods that are not in alignment with what I know is best for my body. And I eat them for emotional support. I eat them because when I would get emotional as a child, I would be fed certain things to avoid those feelings and just give me instant gratification. I eat them because it's just a plain habit, and this is just what I've done so many times. This is just sort of the thing to do. This is just a habitual reaction that is unconscious, although for me it's not really unconscious anymore, in the sense that I'm always aware now when I'm doing things that are coming out of habit and reaction. And so it's not necessarily unconscious, because every time I do it, I know that I'm doing it and that it is not a decision that's going to be of my highest benefit. And just having that awareness is a step in the right direction for those of you who are thinking that you're not making very much progress. Just being aware of when you're doing things that used to be unconscious is a step in the right direction. And just noticing these things, because once you become aware of it and once you actually notice these things happening, then there's pretty much, you can't just be unconscious of it anymore. You can't just do it without thinking about it anymore. And that means you know what it's going to be doing to you, and you know what you really want, and you know that this is not the most beneficial thing for you. And just having that, even though it seems like you keep doing it over and over and over, and like it's never going to end, and like you're never going to get out of this loophole, you absolutely will. It's pretty much inevitable once you have awareness. It may take a long time, it could even take years, but it is going to happen if you maintain that awareness, and if you know where you want to go, and if you see that highest vision of who you are, then that is where you're going to head. If you hold that in your mind, and as raw foodists and fruitarians, we pretty much know the lifestyle that we want to live. We pretty much know exactly the foods that are ideal for us and what make us feel not ideal. And just having that awareness and keeping that, like, I am never going to, I don't believe, because that's been my experience so far, I can't really say never, but it feels like I am never going to know that fruit and liquids and prana are like not the best thing for me. I'm always going to, I feel like, know that these are the natural diet, these are the, next highest evolutionary lifestyle things that I can do to continue evolving. And that's basically how I've felt ever since I found out about fruitarianism and experienced the benefits for myself. And even though I've slipped up so many times and it feels like I've gone backwards, there's not actually such a thing as going backwards. It's always evolution, and it's always moving forwards, even when it feels like you're going back and reverting to old habit patterns. But actually you're just going back to see what is emotionally still there and what you're still attached to. Otherwise, these things would never be revealed to you, and you would never be able to work on them, and then you would never be able to get out of the deepest fears within you that are unconscious or subconscious and are creating a reality that you don't really want, and that are disturbing your own emotional balances and giving, sort of causing you to react to certain life situations. And that's something that I really want to point out, is that everything is here to serve you. Everything is here to serve you. The food that you're eating, the loops that you keep going into, is all here for you because that's what you want, even though when it happens, it doesn't feel like what you want because it feels uncomfortable and it feels painful and it feels emotional. And something I want to mention is that this is exactly what you want. Believe me, you want this to happen. Imagine if you did something completely against nature and you went against the design of what naturally is good for you and what is going to give you the highest possible growth in the shortest amount of time. Imagine going against that and having no consequences and no reactions that were uncomfortable. You would not be likely to grow very fast at all. These are propelling you into the next plateau and the next quantum leap. That partner that left you is propelling you into the next plateau, showing you where your fears are, showing where your attachment is, and showing you the aspects of yourself that cause you to keep on reacting. Same with the food you eat, and it's the same with everything in life. It's all reflecting to you exactly how you are, how your mindset is, and how you can continue growing. And it's the same with the physical body. The physical body is just a device showing you the perfect reflection of your mindset and your belief systems and your reactions and the lifestyle that you're living. So any sort of distortion in your body is lovingly telling you exactly where you're at and where you can change and grow and fix these things. It's amazing how easy it is to just sit down and be with myself and feel such an intense energy flowing through every cell in my body whenever I'm in alignment with my diet. And it's amazing how I feel like I need nothing. How I'm just so incredibly joyful in myself sitting alone in my room and feeling. And then whenever I start to eat dehydrated foods, especially salt. Salt has been a very challenging thing for me recently and many times in the past. Feel like I'm definitely getting over that and how it sneaks up on me. It doesn't even sneak up on me because I know it's gonna happen every single time, is that I crave avocado almost every night, and then pretty much every night I'm like, okay, I'll just give myself an avocado. That's it. That'll be the last thing I eat. And of course, in the deepest part of my mind, I know that that's never the case, and that the avocado for me is like the gateway food to everything else. And then before I eat the avocado, I think of salt and I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible. That sounds awful. I would not want to experience how that's going to make me feel right now. It doesn't even sound desirable or tasty. Then I eat the fatty avocado, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I want more fat and I want salt. And so it's kind of like this thing that is very continual for me at the moment, where I don't want salt, but I'll eat the avocado, and then I eat the avocado, and then I want salt. And I'm sure many of you can relate to similar things. And so it's just a fun thing to observe, because it just keeps happening. And it is a blessing as well, and feels like it's showing me more of where I can let go and not react. And so where I was getting at is whenever I eat these foods that are not natural for me, it's like instantly I'm just like, I want out of this reality. I want this to change. This is so uncomfortable. How could I have done this? How do I keep doing this? How does this happen on such a regular basis? I know it's going to happen. I've experienced this probably hundreds of times, and I just don't seem to be learning. That's sort of the loop that many of us find ourselves in, and it's very frustrating. And then we do it, and then we have regret and shame and guilt and anger and all these other things, which are really a big reason why it's happening. And so that way these things can be revealed to us, and so that way we can become aware of the emotional distortions that are already within us. These foods aren't causing these emotions, but they are helping to reveal them to you, so that way you can work on what's already there inside of you. And so when I eat these things, and because I meditate every night, it's like after I eat something heavy, and then I just like don't want to meditate. Like, oh, that sounds so efforting. It sounds like so much energy now to meditate and be still. And I just feel so uncomfortable, and I want to distract myself with things. I notice that I always want to like either light an incense or drink some herbal tea or do all these things that normally I would have no call to do, and I could just sit down and be with myself so easily. But now I just want to do all these rituals and all these different emotional releasing in order to subside the discomfort. I'm more likely to masturbate to release pressure that these heavy foods are causing. And I'm more likely to just do things that are even more stimulating in order to avoid the natural effect that I just brought upon myself. And could you imagine not having these natural effects when you do something unnatural? It's like people just want their pain to go away, but imagine if you just ate a cheeseburger and french fries and drank soda all day and never had any consequences to that. You would just be walking down the street one day at the age of 25 and drop dead without even knowing what hit you. So the discomfort is definitely a blessing. Listen to it, and be gentle with yourself. Have patience for yourself. Have patience for the process. Everything is unfolding perfectly, and you're exactly where you need to be. And in retrospect, you will see that so clearly. It's always the case, it seems like, that in the future, when we reflect on these times, we think, oh, that was such a beneficial, important part of my life. And actually, some of the most uncomfortable parts of my life are the most healing memories that I can recall. And so now it's very easy for me, even when I'm in a lot of discomfort, to realize that discomfort is actually healing, pain is actually healing. Distortion, blemishes, rashes, all these things, cancer, is actually all healing. Everything is here serving you. Everything, your entire body, every cell in your body, every organ in your body is working tirelessly to ensure that you are experiencing the most joy possible. They're doing everything that they can to make you happy and to clear all blockages and to make you whole again. And of course, you're already whole. It's just that you're very identified and disconnected to that truth, and it's hard to feel that wholeness because of all the unnatural tendencies and habits that we have today. So I feel like I'll sort of wrap this video up here. I was just feeling a call to make something. I really wanted to put something out. And I think things that discourage me from making videos is that, one, I feel like I'm not where I'd like to be. And so sometimes I get the thoughts that I have more to experience before I feel ready to give any sort of advice or anything like that, to share my experience. And I know that that is not very beneficial, and that it would be a much quicker, efficient way to share my process as I go along. I also oftentimes feel like there are so many others that are giving basically the same information, and in my mind it feels like it's being conveyed in a way that I guess I perceive as being like more well put together and researched, and in a way that for some reason my mind thinks is more enjoyable for other people, and that like why would I put out a video about this when there's so many others who are putting out videos that are doing it in their way, which feels to me more easily graspable for people. So I just wanted to get that out, and I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I love you very much, and I'll talk with you in the next video.